Something major just dropped and you are not going to want to miss this. This just came out and people are already reaching out about this in huge numbers, asking what it means for their checks, their taxes, and their monthly income going forward. There are multiple updates happening all at once right now, and if you are collecting Social Security, if you are on SSI or SSDI, or if you are approaching retirement age, every single word of what I am about to share with you matters deeply. The Trump administration's economic push is gaining momentum, and new concerns are now surfacing about what it could mean for Social Security taxes paid by millions of older Americans. Stick with me, because I am going to walk you through everything that is happening right now, what is being proposed, what has already moved forward, and most importantly, what it could mean for your wallet every single month. I will explain all of it in plain, simple language because you deserve real answers, not confusion, not spin, just the facts laid out clearly and honestly. If you are new here, welcome. We cover these updates every single day so that you always have the clearest picture of what Washington is doing and how it affects your financial life. Make sure you stay all the way through today because toward the end, I am going to share something very specific about what experts are now warning could happen to Social Security funding if certain economic plans move forward without changes. That is something you absolutely need to hear, so let us get into it right now. Let us start with what the Trump administration has been pushing economically, because to understand the Social Security concern, you need to understand the broader picture first. Since returning to office, the administration has moved aggressively on several major economic fronts. Tax cuts have been a central part of the agenda. There has been a strong push to extend and expand the tax cuts that were originally passed during the first Trump administration. And layered on top of that, there are new proposals being discussed that go even further. One of the most talked about proposals that has been gaining real traction is the idea of eliminating federal income taxes on Social Security benefits for recipients. Now, at first glance, that sounds like wonderful news. And for many seniors, it genuinely could mean more money staying in their pockets each month. But here is where it gets complicated, and here is exactly why people are reaching out with so much concern right now. The concern is not just about what you might gain in the short term. The deeper worry is about what happens to Social Security funding over the long term if this proposal moves forward the way it is currently written. Let me explain this carefully, because it is genuinely important, and I want to make sure every single person watching understands it completely. Right now, about 40% of Social Security recipients pay federal income taxes on a portion of their benefits. This happens when your total income from all sources exceeds certain thresholds. The taxes collected on those Social Security benefits actually flow back into the Social Security Trust Fund and the Medicare Hospital Insurance Trust Fund. This is not widely known, and that is part of why so many people are confused and worried right now. When you pay income tax on your Social Security benefit, a portion of that tax revenue goes right back into the program that pays you. So, if those taxes are eliminated entirely, which is what some versions of the proposal call for, the trust funds lose a significant source of incoming revenue. The Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget, which is a nonpartisan organization that watches government finances very closely, has already raised the alarm on exactly this issue. Their analysis suggests that eliminating taxes on Social Security benefits could accelerate the depletion of the Social Security Trust Fund by several years. What does that mean in plain language? It means the fund that pays your monthly check could run short of money sooner than previously expected if this change is made without a plan to replace that lost revenue. Now, I want to be very clear here because I do not want anyone to panic. This does not mean your checks are stopping tomorrow. It does not mean Social Security is collapsing next month or next year. What it means is that a decision made today for a short-term benefit could create a larger problem down the road if it is not handled carefully. And that is exactly the kind of thing I am here to watch and report on so that you are never caught off guard. I will keep you updated every step of the way as this develops. Let us keep going because there is more to cover. Beyond the question of Social Security taxes, there is a broader economic tension happening right now that is creating additional worry for older Americans on fixed incomes. The administration's economic agenda includes significant tariffs on imported goods, aggressive deregulation, and major changes to federal spending. All of these things together are creating what economists are calling a period of significant economic uncertainty. And uncertainty, as most people who have lived through a few decades of life already know, tends to show up first in prices. Grocery prices are still elevated, energy costs are volatile, and the kinds of goods that many seniors rely on, medications, medical equipment, home goods, many of these come from countries that are now subject to new tariffs. When import costs go up, manufacturers and retailers pass those costs to consumers. That means you pay more for the same products you have always bought. For someone living on a fixed Social Security income, these compounding pressures are not abstract economic concepts. They are real and they are felt every single time you open your wallet. People are reaching out right now saying they are already stretched to the limit. They want to know when things are going to get better. I hear you, and I want you to know I am going to keep bringing you these updates every single day because staying informed is the most powerful thing you can do right now. Now let us talk about something that has been getting a lot of attention in the past few days specifically. There are reports coming out of Washington that budget negotiations are heating up and Social Security is once again part of that conversation. There has been a great deal of debate about what can and cannot be touched when it comes to the federal budget. The administration has signaled a desire to cut overall government spending significantly. Now, the White House has repeatedly stated that they do not intend to cut Social Security benefits directly, and that is an important distinction. But here is the nuance that matters. There is a difference between cutting benefit amounts directly and making structural changes to how Social Security is funded or taxed that end up reducing what the program can pay over time. This is exactly the kind of subtle but critical distinction that I want you to understand. Because when politicians say they will not cut Social Security, it is important to ask the follow-up question. What about changes that affect funding? The conversation in Washington right now is complex and fast-moving. And I will be honest with you, not all of the details have been finalized. Things are still being debated and negotiated. What I can tell you is this. Any proposal that reduces the revenue flowing into the Social Security Trust Fund without a clear plan to replace it deserves serious scrutiny, and you deserve to know about it before it becomes law, not after. Let me now talk about what this all means for the 2026 cost of living adjustment, because that is something I know is on a lot of your minds. The COLA for 2026 will be determined by inflation data collected from July through September of this year. The higher inflation runs during those months, the higher your adjustment will be. Right now, inflation is still elevated by historical standards, and with the economic pressures coming from tariffs and trade disruptions, many analysts believe it could remain stubbornly high through the summer months. That could actually result in a meaningful COLA increase for 2026. Some early projections are putting it somewhere in the range of 2.5% to 3%, though that number will change as we get more data. On the surface, that sounds positive. More money in your check is always better than less, but I want to come back to the bigger picture. If the economic changes being pushed through Washington end up weakening the long-term financial position of Social Security, then a slightly higher COLA today could come at a much greater cost tomorrow. That is the balance I am watching for you. Short-term gains versus long-term stability. I will keep you updated as every new piece of data comes in. Now, I want to speak to something that has been brought up repeatedly by people in our community. The question of whether now is a good time to file for Social Security if you have not already. If you are between the ages of 62 and 70 and you have not yet claimed your Social Security benefit, the uncertainty in the current environment is making this question even more important than usual. Filing early gives you access to money now, but at a permanently reduced monthly amount. Waiting increases your benefit, but means living without that income in the meantime. There is no single right answer for everyone. It depends on your health, your other income sources, your expenses, and your personal situation. What I will say is this: if you have not sat down recently and looked carefully at your projected benefit amounts at different ages, now is a very good time to do that. You can do this for free on the Social Security Administration's official website. It takes only a few minutes and it gives you real numbers to work with. Knowledge is always better than guessing, especially when we are talking about a decision that will affect your income for the rest of your life. Now, I also want to briefly mention something for our friends in Canada because this story has echoes there as well. Canadian seniors relying on old age security and the guaranteed income supplement are watching similar political and economic tensions unfold under their own government. Trade disruptions between Canada and the United States are creating cost pressures that are filtering down to everyday prices for Canadians as well. The economic relationship between the two countries is deeply connected, and when that relationship is under strain, it is always ordinary people on fixed incomes who feel it first and feel it hardest. I will continue to bring you updates that cover both sides of the border because our community stretches across North America and you all deserve to be informed. Let me now bring everything together for you with a clear and simple recap of what we have covered today. The Trump administration's economic push is creating new concerns about Social Security taxes. A proposal to eliminate federal income taxes on Social Security benefits sounds appealing on the surface, but could reduce vital funding flowing into the trust fund. Nonpartisan budget experts are already warning that this kind of change without a funding replacement plan could accelerate the timeline for trust fund challenges. At the same time, broader economic pressures, including tariffs, trade disruptions, and elevated inflation, are squeezing fixed-income households right now in the present. The 2026 COLA may come in with a modest increase depending on where inflation lands over the summer months, and we will be watching those numbers very closely together. Social Security is not in immediate danger, but decisions being made right now in Washington will shape the program's strength for years to come. You deserve to be informed before those decisions are finalized, not after. And that is exactly why we are here every single day. If there is a vote, a new proposal, a change to your benefits, or a shift in the economic data that matters to you, you will hear it here first. I will keep you updated without fail. If today's update helped you understand something that felt confusing before, please share this with someone you care about. A friend, a neighbor, a family member who is also on Social Security or approaching retirement. There are millions of people in our community who need this information and just have not found a place that explains it clearly and honestly without all the noise. We are in this together. I will be back very soon with the next update. Until then, stay informed, stay calm, and remember that understanding what is happening is always the first step toward protecting what you have worked so hard to build.